Alright, so this is a video of me re-recording Punarvasu nakshatra, the 7th nakshatra out of the 27 nakshatras. This is a nakshatra, a constellation that falls between 20 degrees of Gemini all the way up to 3.20 degrees of Cancer. And this is going to be a very new, long, in-depth 1 hour video in comparison to my original Punarvasu video that I made when I first did the series. Because now I got a lot more knowledge and dissecting to do. And as usual, you're going to be seeing me look down on my phone a lot, because I took down a lot of notes, so I make sure I didn't really miss shit. But anyway, this is a nakshatra who deity that rules it is Aditi, the mother goddess, this sky goddess, this goddess who embodies the element of ether, outer space, the thing that holds and encompasses everything within our existence. The symbol for this nakshatra is a bow and arrow. Also, upon doing research, an alternative symbol for this house, for this nakshatra, would be a house or an abode, a dwelling. This yoni animal that goes with this nakshatra is the female cat. And the shakti of this nakshatra is the ability to gain or receive objectives, or the ability to gain wealth and substance. And the planet that rules and controls this nakshatra is Jupiter. And now let's dive into some knowledge about the nakshatra. So let's start off with the deity, whose name is Aditi, this mother sky goddess, space goddess, who's supposed to be, you know, the mother of all the gods and stuff. She predominantly has 12 sons who are supposed to represent 12 different aspects of the sun, and sort of correlate with I don't know, they represent 12 different aspects of the sun, and they go along with, I don't know, the 12 months and the year and whatnot. I do not know all the name of the solar deities off the top of my head. I know that Savitar, Bhaga, Aryaman, Varuna, and Pushan, they're one of the offsprings, one of the solar deities, one of the solar aspects, one of the offsprings of Aditi. One of the main things that I take from Aditi is that this is a very knowledgeable nakshatra. I say it's a very knowledgeable, intellectual nakshatra because when you think about it on a deeper sense, she represents the element of space, of ether. And think about it. Space, outer space, is essentially something that has like existed since like the beginning of time. So outer space has been here since the beginning of time. It has been here since the beginning of creation, which furthermore supports her being a mother goddess. And if she is an embodiment and a representation of something that has existed since the beginning of time, then therefore she is someone that should be very knowledgeable and intelligent and knowing of all of the things that have occurred within her space, within her dwelling, in a sense. If you are the embodiment of space, and within space you have planets and stars and aliens and all these other life forms, you should have knowledge of all of these type of things. In a sense, you should be omnipresent, in a sense, if she's like the embodiment of ether, of space. So therefore, in a sense, you can almost say that she is all-knowing in a way. So therefore, maybe you could associate this nakshatra with spies, because it's all-knowing in a sense. You can associate this nakshatra as being very intellectual, since she is a deity who is a mother goddess and is associated with the element of space. And space, like I said, is something that has existed since the beginning of time. And since she is a mother goddess and she has many children, you can sort of, in a way, view outer space as like a womb, and we are within that womb of Aditi, that womb of outer space, because this is a nakshatra that deals with death and rebirth. Or better yet, yeah, it deals with death and rebirth, and also in a deeper spiritual and mystical sense, it shows you that nothing ever really truly ends. That instead, things is just a continuation, in a sense. And this is what I sort of mean. I gotta get this out in the beginning of the video, so it's why it's on my mind and crap before I get to any other stuff. Think of it like this. One thing that you learn, at least that I believe you can take away from this nakshatra, is that much like how this deity is a mother goddess, and how she represents ether and outer space, and within outer space you have life, you have death, you have trash, you have wars. But just because outer space and God or whatever, I'm trying to put it in a way that it's not too confusing, but think of it like this, you know? Think of like there's one God, and within God space, within outer space, you have good and you have bad, you have trash, you have all these different things within this realm. But despite all of the negativity that is within this realm, within this existence, God doesn't just necessarily kill us and just wipe us off the face of the universe and out of existence. Instead, Aditi, the mother goddess, or God, or whatever you believe in, it makes room to accept all of the good and bad that it has made within its creation. And I feel as though, almost from like a Buddhist perspective, we too as humans, we need to make room. We need to make room and space within ourselves to accept all of the good and the bad and the trash that we will face and encounter in this lifetime. You know, you could be the worst child to your mother, to your parents, and some of them, they will still love you unconditionally, even if y'all do not see eye to eye and bump heads. You could be a criminal, a murderer, a drug dealer. There are still some mothers and parents who are still there with you, riding with you to the very end, hoping that you make a change. And in a sense, maybe from a Christian's perspective or whatever, God is with you and doesn't necessarily give up on you until the very end. He's there, he or she is there with you to the very end, until you, just so that you know you can make that change. What I'm saying is, in a deeper cosmic spiritual sense, and seeing as Aditi is this ether, this space goddess, it just made me think about, you know, how God, despite all of the good or bad things that is happening within the world, he doesn't just necessarily extinguish the bad things that are happening, you know. Instead, he or she has made room to accept the good and bad that's going to happen. He or she has made room and gave chance and had made room for and gave chances for maybe the people who have done bad things to turn around and do good things. So I don't know. Hopefully y'all sort of understood what the fuck I was trying to communicate, because I ain't gonna lie, it got a little confusing spitting it out. I understand what I'm trying to say, but it sort of might be confusing to spit it out in a way that y'all might understand. But to quickly summarize that confusing mess that I just dropped, we gotta learn to make space for all the bad things that are going to happen within us, to us within our life, and keep moving forward. And in a sense, this nakshatra deals with death and rebirth, failures and wins, and, you know, wins and losses, those short-term victories, that death and rebirth theme. And it just shows me that nothing is ever still. Nothing in life is ever still, and death is an illusion. Just because you lost something doesn't mean that it's truly gone. You know, like if you lost, it's like if someone died, that person is gone in the sense and way that you know that you have known them. They are still around in a sense, but they're not there in the physical sense. They might, that energy of that person that you might have lost, your brother, your mother, your sister, your daughter, they might have took the form of somebody new. The energy of that person might take the form of somebody new who is already in your life, or who will enter your life. But you might not be so keen and perceptive to see it, you know? Same thing with love. You lose love and you are stuck on the love that you once had. You're looking at the social media page, but the love isn't there no more. The energy of love has went somewhere else. It's in a new form, you know? So, just like this nakshatra has the theme of death and rebirth and failures and wins and short-term gains and success, I just see that, you know, it just sort of shows you that nothing is ever really over. There's always room for you to change, and there's always room, and that, you know, you always got it. You just can't stay stuck on something that has already happened. You can't be stuck and fixated on a loss, because the moment that you are stuck and fixated on something that has happened that isn't currently going on right now in the present, you are no longer living. You're no longer living when you are stuck in a moment that has already passed, because you're not living. Nothing in this world, nothing in this existence is still. The earth rotates, the sun rises and sets, the moon rises and sets, or whatever. People are dying, people are being born, people are getting fired, people are getting hired. This theme of cycles and changes, and, you know, things are constantly moving. Even when you physically die, like boom, you don't got no heartbeat no more. There's still processes that are going on within the body. There's still chemical reactions and changes going on in the body. Your body is breaking down. There's still chemical reactions going on within the body even after you die. So, as I was saying, nothing is ever still. Everything is always moving within the background of our existence. So therefore, the moment that you stop, I don't know, moving in a metaphorical sense, the moment that you are fixated on something that has already happened and you can't get past that moment, you are no longer living. But those are the life lessons that I took from this nakshatra, since this nakshatra deals with, you know, death and rebirth. And since we're talking about death and rebirth, get it out of the way while it's on the top of my mind. This nakshatra deals with abortions and miscarriages. Due to, you know, she's a mother goddess and she deals with outer space. Outer space contains everything within our existence. There's life, there's death, there's trash, there's all that stuff. So, this nakshatra is associated with death and rebirth, especially since Aditi herself, she was cursed by Mercury to have one of her kids be killed. She was pregnant, and I guess Mercury wanted to see her or whatever. She took too long to greet him, and he ends up hexing her, cursing her kid to die, since she was too caught up with the kid and couldn't get to him in time, couldn't get to Mercury in time to greet him or whatever. So he ends up cursing Aditi to have the kid die. But her husband, who she was with, you know, he was able to revive the kid that had died within her womb and bring it back to life. So this nakshatra is associated with abortions and miscarriages also. And this nakshatra is also associated with twins, because Lord Ram, the seventh major incarnation of Vishnu, is associated with this nakshatra. And I believe there's two, astronomically, there's two stars within this constellation who are viewed as like a pair, viewed as like twins. And I'm trying to see if I can pull up the name. Yes, Castor and Pollux. These two stars that are within this constellation are sort of viewed as like a pair of twins. So twins are seen with this nakshatra, whether in the form of kids or whatever. Twins are seen with this nakshatra. And Vishnu also has a great influence in connection to this nakshatra also. Why? Well, let's start with this. Aditi is the mother of the fifth major incarnation of Vishnu, known as Vamana, and his Vamana avatar. This is a form of a dwarf Brahmin child that Vishnu takes because Indra ends up losing his land to a demon king known as Mahabali. So Vishnu is born. So Vishnu decides to go and help Indra take this land back that he lost. And this story is connected to Shravana nakshatra. But Aditi gives birth to this incarnation of Vishnu, whose, like I said, name is known as Vamana. And this is a very intellectual child who goes in intellectually and cunningly persuade Mahabali to, give 3 steps of land to Vishnu as a midget, as a dwarf. And once Mahabali blessed Vamana avatar Vishnu with 3 steps worth of land, Vishnu in his dwarf form ends up becoming a giant, and within the first 2 steps, he ends up recovering all the land that this demon had took from Indra. And with the 3rd step, he uses it to kill the demon. So what you can depict and take from that story is that Vishnu, with his intelligence, because this is a very intellectual nakshatra, Vishnu with his intelligence went in and dealt with the situation. He didn't come in there very violently, guns a blazing. He cunningly, intellectually resolved the situation. So that's one of the many little examples of the intelligence of this nakshatra. And then another connection of Vishnu with this nakshatra is the form of Lord Ram, who is the 7th major incarnation of Vishnu. And Lord Ram, he's a 7th major incarnation of Vishnu. I'm trying to see if there's another connection of Vishnu with this nakshatra, but there is another connection of Vishnu with this nakshatra, but I'll focus on telling the story briefly of Lord Ram before I go in with that one. So Lord Ram, like I said, 7 major incarnation, and he's from royalty. He's a prince, and Lord Ram ends up having a wife named Sita. But before Sita becomes his wife, he has to impress her. He has to win her over, and she said that she would not marry nobody essentially unless they was able to pick up this bow and arrow, unless they was able to pick up and fire this bow and arrow that belonged to Shiva. And this was like a bow and arrow or a quiver that no ordinary person would just be able to pick up and use and fire. So lost my train of thought. So Lord Ram, he was able to pick up this bow and arrow and quiver and fire it, and he ends up breaking it, and he ends up impressing her, and they get married. Lord Ram's stepmother, she ends up demanding that Lord Ram be exiled because apparently she wanted her own son to be able to take the throne over Lord Ram, and Lord Ram decides to gladly take this exile, which I believe was a 14-year exile. So he goes on this exile with his wife Sita, and his loyal brother Lakshman accompanies him on this exile. And so with that exile happening, one thing that you can take from this nakshatra is that you can see that the people of this nakshatra, they could probably have a theme depending on what planet is in Punarvasu. So they can deal with a theme of being exiled, being maybe kicked out the house, or they could just love to travel. They could just love to travel and roam and go out into nature in the woods. And because he comes from royalty, they could just love to travel in style, stay in nice hotels, first class aircrafts, private jets, whatever. They just want to travel in comfort and luxury no matter wherever they go. That's one thing you could probably take from this nakshatra. And another thing with Lord Ram is that eventually his wife ends up getting abducted, captured by a demon or a person known as Ravana. And how it happened was essentially that his wife had seen a golden deer, and she wanted her husband Ram to go and get that golden deer, capture and bring the golden deer over to them. And he goes to the golden deer, and the golden deer ends up being a demon. It ends up not being a golden deer, and his wife ends up getting captured in the absence while he was away from her. And he has to go on a big journey to go and save and rescue his wife. So one thing you could take from that story, like you can say for the other 2 deer nakshatras, well, the other 3 deer nakshatras, Mrigashira, because the symbol of it is the head of a deer, Jesha and Anurada, because the yoni animal is a deer, and this nakshatra, because Lord Ram encountered a golden deer, you can say that these people will deal with the theme of always, I don't know, they will deal with a theme more so than usual, of them always following and chasing or going after the wrong things in their life. You know, they'll get glamorized, or they'll chase after the wrong things a lot more so than usual, a lot more so than maybe other people, because he's seen this golden deer, he got mesmerized by it, he went after it, it ended up being an illusion, he ended up having to pay and suffer greatly for his mistake and had to go on a big journey. So metaphorically, these people will always chase after a golden deer in their life. And much like Lord Ram had to go on a journey to save his wife, you, especially if you're a guy, maybe, you will play out the theme and the role of you having to go and save. You will fight for your spouse. You will fight for your spouse, your lover, your man, your woman. You will fight for them. If this is like your ascendant lord, you might play out that theme of you going on some great adventure, some great battle you will fight and partake in for your lover, for your spouse. That's what we can see with Punarvasu nakshatra. And also back to an incarnation of Vishnu. So we talked about Vamana avatar, who was an offspring of Aditi. We talked about Lord Ram, the 7th major incarnation, because he is seen to be very connected to this nakshatra. And then we got to also talk about the 6th major incarnation of Vishnu, who is known as Rama, who is, you know, a man who was a Brahmin, but he was blessed with an axe from Shiva. And with this axe, he ends up killing, at least to my knowledge and understanding, he ends up killing a bunch of evil kings and rulers during his time in era. And it is this 6th major incarnation of Vishnu that is stated to have been blessed with the boon of immortality. It's stated that he will stay alive, apparently, until like the end of the Kali Yuga. And at least according to this animated cartoon that I looked at on YouTube, that y'all can go pull up from this YouTube account known as G10 Jolly, whatever. Just go Google. Just go Google on YouTube the story of Rama, the 6th major incarnation of Vishnu, and you'll find like a little 20-minute video. And then towards the end of the 20-minute video, it shows the 6th major incarnation of Vishnu, Rama, encountering Lord Ram. And he went to Lord Ram with the intentions of killing him, just like he had done so many other princes and kings and rulers during his era. But Rama ends up stopping him. Rama ends up stopping himself from going to attack Lord Ram when he realizes that Lord Ram is the incarnation of Vishnu. Now, I don't know the validity of that story or tale. I don't know if there's stuff on the internet or texts or stories that back up that Rama had a little encounter with Lord Ram and was about to slay him before realizing that he was also an incarnation of Vishnu. But if that little story and tale, if you do choose to decide to believe that little story and tale, well then you see that it is through these three deities, these three incarnations of Vishnu, Vamana, Rama, and Lord Ram. You see that all three of them are sort of in a way connected to this nakshatra through Aditi in a way. And as y'all know, as you might already know, to my understanding, Vishnu was cursed. He was cursed by Brigu, I believe, to have to. He was cursed by Brigu, the sage who is the father of Shukracharya, to have to be cursed, to have to always be reborn, to have to always be reborn. But anyway, Vishnu is a deity who always reincarnates on Earth to save Earth, most of the time save Earth and humanity from trouble and push the consciousness of the world into like a certain direction or whatever, and you just see that he is something that is eternal. He keeps being incarnated again and again and again. And this nakshatra has a theme of death and rebirth and being reborn again and again. It shows that nothing is ever truly over. That our existence is like a continuous run-on sentence. It never ends. It just takes on different forms and meanings. So that's something that is a strong, prominent theme of this nakshatra. This nakshatra has has a eternal theme to it. Nothing is ever truly ever over with this nakshatra. There's just maybe breaks and periods and pauses and different forms, but there's never really an end to this nakshatra. There's a sense of immortality and eternalness that is surrounded with this nakshatra. And since the symbol of this nakshatra is a bow and arrow, you can associate a bow and arrow with warriors. Lord Ram, he went and had a war to go and get his wife back. You can associate the bow and arrow with Arjuna. There we go. That's another connection to Vishnu. Arjuna was the friend and companion. Well, he was a friend and sort of like a student of Krishna, who was the 8th major incarnation of Vishnu. Yeah, Krishna was the 8th major incarnation of Vishnu. He comes after Lord Ram. And Arjuna and Krishna, they play a huge role in the Mahabharata war. And Arjuna was known to be a great archer. And like I said, he went and had a connection with Krishna, and Krishna ended up being Arjuna's charioteer during the war. So that is a 4th connection of Vishnu with this nakshatra. Because if you want to go and draw from the symbol of this nakshatra being a bow and arrow, you can connect the bow and arrow with Arjuna, who was a great warrior. Arjuna was a student and a friend of Krishna. And yeah, the point that I'm trying to make is that you see that Vishnu has a great connection to this nakshatra, and Vishnu just keeps incarnating, and this nakshatra is associated with death and rebirth. And Arjuna is a great warrior. Lord Ram he ended up having a war for his wife. You know who's also a great warrior? Bhishma, the deity. Well, not a deity, but Bhishma was also a major character, a great warrior who had a role to play in the Mahabharata war. And he was also a great warrior and great with archery. And Bhishma is connected to Dhanista nakshatra, which is another nakshatra that's associated with abortions and miscarriages. So you see that this nakshatra, therefore, This from the symbol of the bow and arrow, and just seeing how Lord Ram had to fight for his wife, you see that this nakshatra can produce great warriors also. And this nakshatra can produce a great leader. Because upon Lord Ram going on this journey to save his wife Sita, he ends up encountering Lord Hanuman, a monkey god, who is connected to Swati nakshatra. And you can also connect them to the other two monkey yoni nakshatras, which is Purva, Shada, and Shravana. Yeah, Lord Hanuman is a monkey god, and he is a loyal devotee of Lord Ram. And Lord Ram ended up encountering the Vanaras, which are divine mystical monkeys. He ended up having an army of monkeys help accompany him to go fight a war to go save his wife Sita. So you can associate this nakshatra with commanders, leaders, generals, people who can end up having an army and following and congregation of people that will help support their cause. That's one thing. So that's one thing that you can see. You can see warriors with this nakshatra. You can see leaders with this nakshatra. People who might have a great way of speaking with this nakshatra. What else can I take from this nakshatra? I can't really think of nothing else at the top of my head, but you see the Vishnu connection. You see that eternal rebirth theme of this nakshatra. You see the warrior theme of this nakshatra. So now I'm about to move on to things that you can take from this nakshatra with the cat. When I first made my video on this nakshatra, there wasn't really much information for me to get when it came to cats, but now I got a little bit more shit to say. So all cats, all domesticated cats, apparently are descendants of African wildcats. So essentially, with all domesticated cats originating from the African wildcat, you can easily make connections with this nakshatra. You can say that for, Punarvasu nakshatra and Aslesha nakshatra, since they are both the two cat yoni nakshatras, they have a connection with Egypt or with Africa, because all cats are derived from the African wildcat. And apparently an African wildcat can run up to like 50 miles per hour. And apparently a house cat or a regular cat, they can also run pretty fast also. So therefore you can associate this nakshatra with maybe gymnastics and track stars, because cats, they're very good at keeping their balance, and they can, in an African wildcat, they can run pretty fast. So these people could be very great gymnastics or track stars or whatever. And also, cats are territorial. At least the female cat is a little bit more territorial. You see, cats in general, they have glands over their face, and when they rub, they can mark you and mark objects by rubbing their face and head all over you and that object. They're marking you. They're putting their scent on you. So the female cat could be a little bit more, or wildcat could be a little bit more territorial. When they get pregnant and have their kids, have their kittens, the kids stay with the mother for 5 to 6 months, and then after that, the kids go on their own. And from my little bit of research that I've done, the guy who gets the female cat pregnant, he ends up having to leave, or he ends up dipping and having to find his own land. He got to keep it moving, and she stays around and takes care. And the female African wildcat, she ends up staying around, taking care of the kids for 5 to 6 months. And during that 5 to 6 months, she's very territorial and protective. She teaches them how to hunt and all that. And then after that, they on their own, and she stays in her own little territory. So she kicks the guy out, she kicks the babies out, and she holds her own fort down. So, and also cats and African wildcats, they are not monogamous. They do not, they don't really have no family structure, They are almost similar to snake nakshatras. to the snake yonis. They might just mainly come together to have sex. But after that, you gotta get the fuck out. But the female cat, the female yoni nakshatra is a little bit more affectionate than the male. Because the female, she'd be a little bit more protective and territorial of the kids. Versus the guy, he just keeps it moving and whatnot. What else do I gotta say about the cats and stuff? Cats, well, the African wild cats, they are mainly active at night and they like to hide behind bushes and stuff. So, Punarvasu people, they might really like to be active at night, get up in the middle of the night a lot, do a lot of shit at night. And they can be very mysterious and sneaky because the cat, it likes to hide behind bushes. It likes to sneak up on you. It likes to pounce on you. And also a cat, the African wild cat, apparently likes to make the hair on his back stand up in an attempt to intimidate predators, to intimidate the enemy, to make themselves appear bigger than what they are. They'll make their hair stand up. So, and also, you know, the cats, they got those whiskers, and apparently the cat uses the whiskers to, I don't know, I forget off the top of my head how a cat might use their whiskers, but they use their whiskers to sort of, you know, feel shit, to detect shit. It goes along with their senses. So with us knowing that African wildcat like to stand, lift their hair up to make themselves appear bigger than what they are, to maybe intimidate a foe. Maybe a Punarvasu person likes to really grow their hair out, you know? They like to maybe just really grow their hair out and let it be wild and shit. And yeah, back to the gymnastic stuff. Cats have great jumping abilities. So, like I said, you can see great gymnasts come out of the cat yoni nakshatras. Cats are also lactose intolerant, which is something that I didn't even know until I did my own research. So, you can take from that people, the cat yoni nakshatras, they have a very sensitive digestive system. They can be very picky eaters and have a very sensitive digestive system. And what else do I have to say? Cats apparently have up to 100 different vocalizations to communicate with, to communicate different things. And apparently cats only meow to communicate with humans. And also, I'm glad this came back to my mind. You can connect Rahu to the cat yoni nakshatras because Rahu is associated with cats. K2 is dogs, but Rahu is associated with cats. So Rahu is, you know, the head of the demon, the head of the dragon, the head of the serpent. And wherever you have the North Node Rahu at in your chart, that is an area in your life where you have to, where the soul has maybe the least amount of experience with. This is an area that you need to work on. And because it's an area you need to work on, you're like a baby in that area. You'll make a lot of mistakes and whatnot. So, that further goes along with this nakshatra's theme of you making mistakes. You having to constantly repeat things. And also, these people could love, these people can have, Punarvasu nakshatra people, they can have a strong sense of smell. They can have a real strong sense of smell, which goes along, which makes sense because of the because Rahu is associated with cats, and Rahu is the head, and Rahu sort of amplifies things, amplifies the house and sign and nakshatra of the things that he is associated with and connected with. So, and cats, they have a strong scent. They have a strong sense of smell, and they like to mark their territory. They like to pee on things and mark their territories. So therefore, you know, these people could just have a strong sense of smell and love great fragrances. And these people, they can have a love for, because the cat can have different, up to 100 different vocalizations, you can probably see great singers be produced out of the cat yoni nakshatras. You can probably see that these people can have an interest in learning different languages with the cat yoni nakshatras. Maybe languages like, you know, Sanskrit or sign language or reading braille, that stuff, the stuff that people who are blind have to feel to read and communicate. What else can I say of this nakshatra? Cats apparently love to groom. They love to groom and lick and clean other cats, and they might do the same thing to their owner. But they love to groom. So you can see that, you know, that sort of highlights some of the more little affectionate side of a cat. So I don't know. You can see that these people, they can just love to groom you. I don't really know what to say. So you might see hairstylists with this. You might see barbers and salonists come out of this nakshatra. You might see people who like to give massages come out of this nakshatra. Or you could just see that physical touch could really be could be a love language attached with this nakshatra. But also at the same time, like I said, cats in general are pretty much very independent for the most part. Cats and African wild cats, they're very independent. They're not very monogamous. So, like I said, it reminds me of the snake yoni nakshatras. It's like they want the affection and the cuddling, and that they want that intimate time when they want it. But after they get that intimacy that they wanted, they want to be left the fuck alone and do their own thing. So you might see that theme be associated with Punarvasu. Another thing with Lord Ram is that after he rescues his wife Sita, apparently there were accusations and scandals and rumors that she ended up having sexual affairs with her captor, which is Ravana. And apparently he put his wife through hell and put her through tests and made her have to prove herself that she did not go and have an affair with the person who captured her and stuff. And that ended up damaging the relationship. That ended up damaging the marriage a little bit. So you can see that with Punarvasu nakshatra, that this nakshatra can produce people who are more susceptible to scandals and rumors within the marriage and relationship. And maybe in a practical sense, in the same way that his wife got captured, maybe in a practical sense, you might deal with some theme where your wife might get captured. Or you might deal with a theme with someone taking your wife away from you. Maybe in the form of cheating. You know, someone sweeps your wife off your feet, your love off your feet, and then you want to go and fight for your wife, and you take her back. And even though you take her back, you put her through hell because you have insecurities and stuff. But y'all still stay together. So you'll see those things. You'll see those themes with this nakshatra. This nakshatra, now that I explain it, it reminds me more and more of the Nista nakshatra, because the Nista nakshatra is a warrior nakshatra. It's a nakshatra that also have themes of abortions and miscarriages, and it's also a nakshatra that has a theme of difficult marital and relationship karma. Very much so similar to Punarvasu nakshatra. Give me a moment, y'all, while I'm just making sure that I'm not missing nothing. I already told you that this nakshatra has a theme of twins and stuff. And back to Lord Hanuman and his brother Lakshman. So these people of Punarvasu nakshatra, they can end up having a loyal, you know, companion be with them. They can end up having a devotee, because Hanuman was a devotee and loyal follower of Lord Ram, and Lakshman, his brother, is instead, he is really an incarnation of Adisesha, which is the massive serpent that Lord Vishnu lays on, and is supposed to accompany Vishnu through a majority of his incarnations. And Adisesha and his incarnations that he accompanies Vishnu with always dies before Vishnu. That way, when Vishnu dies, he has his snake bed to lay on. So, long story short, Punarvasu people, they can have a very loyal devotee, friend, companion that will be with them through hell and high waters. And another thing, since an alternative symbol of this nakshatra is that of a home, of a dwelling, of an abode, you can see these people, they might end up having like their own type of building or something. You know, you can see maybe orphanages be spawned from people in this nakshatra. You could see maybe schools come from this nakshatra, recreational center or something come from this nakshatra. You might see that, you know, something like that could happen. Because one, Lord Ram, he was a prince, he was a ruler. So he had an army, he had advisors, he had Hanuman, he had the monkey army, he had his loyal brother, Lakshman, accompany him to go save his wife. So you might have like your own building, your own home, your own dwelling, your own school, where you have a bunch of loyal people who would answer to you and will follow you to the end of time. And also, like I said, the deity of this nakshatra is Aditi, the mother goddess. And she, you know, I just make it real practical of a mother producing many children and having a large home, a large place to house these many children. And that's another thing that I forgot to mention about this nakshatra. Because Aditi is a mother goddess and has like many children, you yourself could desire, being under this nakshatra, you yourself could desire to have many children. And if you might not desire to literally have many children in the physical, literal sense, you could desire to have followers, students, people who you would nurture and take care of and sort of treat in a way like a child, in a sense, you know. So that's one thing that you can see with this nakshatra. And also with this alternative symbol of this nakshatra being a home, you can view it in like a spiritual and metaphorical sense that these people, no matter where they go, they will always, I don't know, in a sense, they'll feel at home no matter where they at. These people could go on like a spiritual journey that will shape and mold them to be feeling content and at home no matter where they are at in life. No matter what situation that they are in at life, they might always have this sense of feeling at home no matter where they are at. Or they can always make themselves comfortable and intimate and make their environment feel home-like no matter where they are at. Just like Lord Ram was exiled with his wife Sita and with his brother Lakshman. And, you know, they had to make do and comfortable with wherever the hell they was at during their 14-year exile. You yourself, like I said, you could love to travel a lot, and in a spiritual sense, you could go on a journey to develop yourself to make sure that you feel at home no matter where you are at physically or mentally. Like no matter what storm and chaos is going on around your life, you are solid. You're a brick house. You have a strong, solid foundation, and you will not be shooken by your outside circumstances. Or maybe in a literal sense, no matter where you have to fall and rest your head to go to sleep at, you're going to make sure that you get comfortable. You're going to make sure that wherever you are at, wherever you're resting your head at, wherever you're dwelling at, you're going to make sure that you're comfortable and it feels very home-like. That's something that you could see with this nakshatra. So let me make sure I'm not missing anything else with this nakshatra before I end this video. You could have to do something to impress the woman that you marry, or you could have to just, yeah, you could have to do something impressive to maybe win over your spouse. You could do something to really win over your spouse. Because even though this is a female yoni cat nakshatra, apparently it's the male cats and African male wild cats, whatever, that fight and compete and do things to win over and gain the attention of the female. And Lord Ram, he didn't just propose to Sita or something. He had to impress her. She said, whoever can pick up this bow and fire it or whatever, I will marry them. So he had to do something above and beyond, extraordinary, to win his wife. So you have to do something above and beyond and extraordinary to win over your lover or lovers. Whether you have to, or whether you just choose to show off and do something impressive to win somebody over, you will likely do something impressive to try to win over your lover. You know, especially if it's like your ascendant or ascendant lord. Let me see if there's anything else that I can say with this nakshatra. And no, that is essentially all that I have to say of this nakshatra. I touched on Aditi, I touched on the yoni animal, I touched on the symbol, I touched on warriors, children, reincarnation, abortions. The only thing that I personally did not really spend a lot of time on thinking about is the clear distinction between what is probably the difference between Punarvasu nakshatra and the Gemini side, and Punarvasu nakshatra and the little bit of degrees that fall within the Cancer side. And I ain't gonna say, like I said, I was lazy. I didn't feel like doing additional more thinking and gear grinding to just come up with the distinction between the two. But y'all have more than enough knowledge in this video that shine light on this nakshatra. And yeah, to get any more additional information about this nakshatra, really you probably have to read the Ramayana, the Ramayana, and probably really study and observe the life of Lord Ram. But y'all have great amount of info and knowledge within this video. I hope that this gave you great understanding and clarity on Punarvasu nakshatra, and I'll see you whenever I decide to make my next video.